breaker Logan Edra pursues an Olympic dream forged from Strugglelogan. Edra was trying not to overthink it. She just arrived in an industrial corner of Miami to a barely visible studio, tucked among wrecked cars waiting for repair, a paint store, and a pet shop where a sign read, Breakin MIA. It was July, and Edra had recently secured a spot on the 4-person US breaking team, the athletic art form sometimes called breakdancing, just weeks ahead of its Olympic debut. It would be one of breaking's biggest global moments since its creation on the streets of New York more than 5 decades ago. The athletes don't call themselves dancers. They're b-boys and b-girls. And for Edra, who goes by the b-girl name Logistx, the pressure was on. The soft-spoken 21-year-old, wearing a Red Bull sponsor shirt, plopped onto a sofa near wall posters that read "Hustle" and "Success." Just beyond was the mirror-lined dance studio where Edra drilled her gravity-defying backspins, go-downs, top rock steps and freezes. She was working out, holding practice battles, and studying opponents' moves. "It's a big stage," she said. "It is intimidating." But she also had another top priority: avoiding the crushing competitive pressures that, as a teenager, very nearly broke her. Since learning to break in grade school, the US team's youngest member has navigated both high-flying success and personal struggles on her road to the Olympics. Along the way, she's become a voice for mental health amid growing awareness of the pressures of high-stakes competitions, including Olympic sports. 2024 Olympic gold medals. Who is leading the medal count? Follow along as we track the medals for every sport. Edra, who can be quietly contemplative amid the swagger of breaking, say her path to Paris ran directly through this Hialeah studio, whose supportive community brought her new confidence, style and healing since moving here during the pandemic. But with the world watching, she knew she'd soon have to pull off perfect technique and original creativity to best global b-girls. Overthink it? Miss a risky move? Plan things out too much, or too little? You could be toast. As she pondered her quest to win a medal, she looked down at a one-word tattoo on her right wrist. It read, "Breathe," the dad trick that led Edra to breakdancing. The story of Edra's breaking career begins with her father. She was 7 years old and living in Chula Vista, California, when her father, Harun Edra, told her he was taking her to an art class. She told USA Today it wasn't true. Instead, she was delivered to a class for hip-hop dance. Edra, whose grandparents moved to the US from the Philippines, didn't want to do it. But she went on to learn to break and love its physicality, energy, and connection to hip-hop culture. At home, her father played hip-hop classics from groups such as A Tribe Called Quest. She came to love the breaks from James Brown and the Wu-Tang Clan, and she was inspired by early breakers such as Richard Crazy Legs Cullen. "I think my dad just thought it was cool. He did it when he was younger." Breaking was big in the 80s, she said, growing from its birth in 1970s New York and gaining popularity when portrayed in the 1980s in movies such as Breakin. While the term breakdancing was coined by the media, many practitioners prefer the term breaking. Edra was taught by the breaker Valerie Acosta, known as Val Powell. At home, Edra's parents hung mirrors on a bedroom's purple walls to create a home studio to practice dance and breaking, according to a Red Bull biography. She took gymnastics for strength. Pressed on by her father, who gave her the name Logistx because she was a methodical planner, Edra joined Acosta's breaking crew called Underground Flow at age 10 and began competing. "My dad would always tell me, 'Do you want to be good, or do you want to be great?' And that was a seed that was planted at a very young age," she said. Years later, she saw parallels when she watched the movie King Richard, in which Will Smith plays the hard-driving father of tennis stars Serena and Venus Williams. Edra recalled her father saw it and told her to watch it. "She cried," she said. It hit close to home. In California, she would go head-to-head in breaking battles with opponents, ringed by crowds of breakers called ciphers, spinning and dancing in baggy pants on whatever surface was available. Roadie crowds were part of the energy. Back then, she said, there were far fewer B-girls than B-boys. It could be intimidating, and at times exclusionary. But the anger made me get a chip on my shoulder where I wanted to prove something to people, she said. To help focus on a dancing and breaking career, Edra switched to homeschooling in 7th grade. She stayed with her father when her mother moved to Florida, and she was winning competitions and getting dancing opportunities, including a TV dance competition.